Very good evening to everyone. So today we had TISSNET 2021 and you appeared for the examination. You must have watched our exam analysis as well. The ones who did not watch may watch it sometime later. And in this session, as we promised, that we shall be discussing most of the questions from the examination, and I'm presenting the questions in front of you. So first of all, thanks to the Gradeup team which compiled these questions in a very short duration of time, and here I am presenting the questions that were asked in the examination and shall be presenting the solutions to those questions and the exact answers to those questions. Okay, so before I begin, I would just want you to please share this session with your friends so that the ones who appeared in the examination are able to watch this and can get a prediction of their score. So this will give you a good idea about your scores, right? So we shall be discussing more than 70 questions, right, which we could recall, and the ones which were non-ambiguous, of course, right? So good evening all, welcome to Gradeup's MBA Prep channel. So first of all, I would like to know, how did you do in the examination? How did you find the examination? How many of you are there who appeared for the examination last year as well and are appearing this year as well? Because you would be the right person to judge the level of the examination. Some said that no, the cutoffs cannot go such low, right? The last year cutoff was 73, earlier it was 75. So the ones who appeared for the examination in 2020 as well as in 2021 would be able to compare the difficulty levels, right? So as we have been taking these examinations year after year, so hence we know that this was slightly on the difficult side, especially the quant section, wherein there are some typical questions based on concepts as well as some ambiguous questions, including the data interpretation as well. So we strongly believe that the cutoff will be lower this time. Okay, and even in RCs there were a couple of questions with close options, right? So yes, so it was different from last year's paper, not the typical TISSNET that you see in like you have very easy quant, people score heavily in quant. In this examination, I would say a score of 22 plus would be a very good score in quant. Okay. All right, yes, yes, the difficulty level was more than that of last year, right? Okay, so let's begin, right? So before that, I would like you to like this session so that this gives us a motivation, right? We put in a lot of efforts, right? Like to banta hai, right? Okay, so let's start. So first of all, the distribution that we discussed in the analysis session as well. If someone has done, and this means the genuine attempts, of course, the genuine attempts, because every rational person would have attempted all 100 questions, right? So some time should have been spared to attempt all those questions. So if someone is getting around 22 to 24 genuine attempts in English, that is a very good attempt. In quant, 20 to 22, that should be considered a good attempt, a very good attempt, right? 22 plus would be a really great one. Okay, general awareness somewhere around 25 plus. Okay, so all in all, if someone has managed to score above 70, that should consider himself or herself safe. So the cutoffs, if you compare 2019-2020, the cutoff for general category was 75 and 73. By evaluating the papers of the past year with this one, we have come up with the cutoffs for this year. So general category would be somewhere around 65 to 67 plus 1 or 2 marks, right? Not definitely not minus, not less than that, but somewhere plus 1 or 2. Similarly for these two categories as well, somewhat in this range. Okay, so this you can expect the cutoff to be. This year we have seen that most of the examinations have been difficult. Even IFT, MAHCET, whichever exam you take, most of the examinations were difficult than the last year, right? Including CAT as well. Okay. So that's been the story of TISSNET so far. So let's begin the question discussion that you have been waiting for. Although we discussed most of the questions in the first in the analysis session itself, wherein we went wrong with a couple of questions. Right now we are well prepared, and we shall be presenting the questions and the solutions in detail for the quant section as well. All right, so let's begin the session, right? Okay, so let's start with general awareness. So these were the questions. 30th January 2021, Gandhi's death anniversary, it was asked. It was the 73rd anniversary. Of course, he was shot. He died on 30th of January 1948, right? So 73rd, and you count the death anniversary from like when you complete 1 year, you count the first anniversary, right? So that's how you need to count. Okay, so Uday scheme stands for Ujjwal Discom Assurance Yojana. It's a financial turnaround for power distribution. Okay, so this was the answer. The other options were LED scheme, LPG scheme, etc., right? So this was the answer. Greenhouse gases, it is in the troposphere. Okay, so they prevent the release of heat in the troposphere. You have the ozone layer in the stratosphere. So I mean, they work on this troposphere. Okay, then UN General Secretary, this is something who has been for a long time, so you must be, many aspirants must be knowing. Antonio Guterres, I don't know how do we pronounce it, right? So he's the UN General Secretary. First person to win Sahitya Academy Award for English Literature is R.K. Narayan. I'm sure some of you must be knowing it, or might have used some common sense to answer the question. Okay, which place in Nagaland is related to World War II? So Kohima is known for that. So Kohima, there was a battle in Kohima in 1944, right? So it is famous for that. So Kohima was the answer to this question. Drishyam movie was originally made in which language? It was in Malayalam. Recently the second part has also been released, right? So maybe they got the idea from that and asked a question on Drishyam, right? The original Drishyam. So it was then dubbed, recreated in multiple languages, including Hindi as well, right? Second largest ocean, Atlantic Ocean. The first is Pacific Ocean, the second is Atlantic Ocean. Indian Ocean comes third, right? Okay, so Harsh, 76 marks is a really great score. Now you should start preparing for TISSNET. Okay, all right. So Nobel Peace Prize 2020 was given to which organization? This we had discussed in our GK series as well, right? So it is World Food Program. Then father of modern India, Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Okay, so known for multiple reform during that period. Okay, sero survey test is with sample, so it is blood serum test. Okay, so I think that time we had given that nasal swab. The answer is blood serum. Okay, it's confirmed. 100% electricity using renewable energy, the country is Iceland. Costa Rica is about to achieve that. They have target in 2021 but not yet achieved. It is more than 99% but not 100%. Iceland is completely using renewable energy, right? Mostly hydro energy and geothermal energy. Then current Lok Sabha speaker, these are some certain things that you must know about the parliament, some important ministers, etc. So I'm sure most of you must be knowing the answer. The answer is Om Birla ji. Okay, so chess originated in India, so there are certain things that we should be proud of, like invention of zero, invention of chess, and many more things. Okay, so India was the right answer to this question. Theme of Economic Survey of India. Now if someone did not know the theme, one could have used some logical reasoning also to answer this question. Saving lives and saving livelihoods. So something not directly stating COVID-19 but something related to that, right? Okay, so this was the theme for the Economic Survey of 2021. Author of A Promised Land is Barack Obama, recently released book in 2020. Okay, and then we have the first woman president of United Nations General Assembly, Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, right? So sister of Jawaharlal Nehru. Okay, so some famous Indian ladies, you must be aware of the first chief minister, the first governor. So this is one of those things that you should be aware of. All right, so then there was a question on Manu Bhakar. She won gold medal in the 2018 Commonwealth Games, and it was asked which was the event. So it was 10-meter air pistol. All right. Next, decision to send COVID-19 vaccine abroad. Under which scheme is it done? So it is Vaccine Maitri Initiative. Okay, Vaccine Maitri Initiative is the right answer to the question. Next question was on, that was an easy one, that which of the following is not a session of the parliament. So you have 3 sessions of the parliament, right? You have the winter session, you have the monsoon session, and you have the budget session. So summer session is not a session of the parliament. So this was, someone was suggesting that none of the questions came from the GK series. This was something that we had discussed in the GK series as well, right? Then which lunar probe discovered water on moon? It was Chandrayaan-1. Okay, so there were options, Chandrayaan 1 and 2. So that was something, if one was not sure of, would have marked either of the options, right? And then of course one could easily be eliminated, that was Mangalyaan, right? So the options, it was just about Chandrayaan 1 and 2. The right answer is Chandrayaan 1. Okay, then Bhitarkanika National Park is in Odisha. All right, and central government economic policy for the poor during the lockdown. Okay, so we were unable to get the answer, right? We could not recall the options also. There were too many schemes launched. Okay, so if any one of you knows the answer to this question, can please help us, right? We were unable to get the answers. Okay, because there were a lot of bunch full of schemes, and even we did not recall what all were the options given. We couldn't get the answer to this question. All right, next question. Black Revolution is related to petroleum production. Okay, next, which movement started with breaking of the salt law? It was civil disobedience movement, which started after the breaking of this salt law. Okay, cutoff will definitely be less than 75. Of course, we discussed that it is going to be in the range 65 to 67. Okay, so it was Garib Kalyan Yojana. All right, Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. Okay, next question, that was on Anuradha Pal. She plays which musical instrument? The right answer is tabla. Which wrestler got the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award 2020? So it was Vinesh Phogat. There were multiple recipients of Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award, right? Including Manika Batra, Rohit Sharma. Okay, and there was one para athlete as well, right? So Vinesh Phogat got it for wrestling. Then Doda Betta Peak is situated in the Nilgiri Hills. Okay. Then the question on US history, the Declaration of Independence of the US was drafted by, the answer is Thomas Jefferson. Okay, Thomas Jefferson is the right answer. Okay, so Shreyan, the GK cutoff is predefined, it's 14, right? Although if you just manage to get the cutoff, you won't be able to clear the overall cutoff, right? So you need to score high in the other 2 sections as well, right? So GK cutoff is defined 14. Okay. All right, so let's look at the next thing. So who led the all-women crew over the North Pole in January 2021? So it was Captain Zoya Agarwal. All right, next was India's official entry to Oscars 2020. That was Jallikattu, a Malayalam film. What did the Union Carbide used to produce at Bhopal? So it used to have pesticides, that was methyl isocyanate, and the product was named as 7. Okay, product was named as 7. Okay, which of the following is not a part of a sustainable development goal? So this was something people could have answered using common sense as well, right? So the right answer is access to digital technology service. So that is not a sustainable goal, right? The other options were, so it was obviously an outlier. If someone had used some common sense, would have answered this correctly. The highest percentage of ST population is in which Indian state? The right answer is Mizoram. Okay, it's Mizoram. First state to implement the Har Ghar Jal Yojana. The answer is Goa. Okay. All right, so let's look at the next set of questions. Which of the following does not belong to the group, right? So there were the options were M.F. Hussain and other painters. So 3 were painters. So Pannalal Ghosh was a flute player, okay, and the other 3 options given were of painters. Which of the following books started an environmental movement? The right answer was Silent Spring by Rachel Carson. All right. And then definition of epidemic was asked. It is defined by a widespread occurrence of an infectious disease in a community at a particular time. Okay. Then another question on odd one out. The answer was K.K. Shelja. Now the other 3 options were Sanna Marin, she is a Finnish Prime Minister. Jacinda Ardern, she is the Prime Minister of New Zealand. Tsai Ing-wen is the Prime Minister of Taiwan. Okay, so 3 ladies who are head of their countries, and you have K.K. Shelja. So that was an obvious answer, right? I'm sure most of you must have got this one right? Highest population? No, I think it was highest percentage. I remember it was highest percentage, not highest population. Okay, so Pritish, it was highest percentage. I remember it is clearly it was highest percentage. Okay, so these were the questions. I think we missed one question. I don't recall that question right now. Okay, so this is about this. Okay. All right, so let's look at the next set of things, right? If you are enjoying the session, don't forget to like the session, right? So see us, like we have been working hard for this, right? The only way you can give us motivation is by liking the session, isn't it? Right, so let's move on to the next session. Let's look at some of the answers of the English section, right? So you must have calculated your scores, right? Okay, so vaccine, I think that vaccine question, right? I think the answer was Covaxin for that. Okay. Okay. Yes, so let's look at the English section. So these were some of the questions. These are some of the answers. You can match your answers. Okay. All right. So let's look at the answers. So frugal, there was some synonym question on frugal. So the synonym is thriftry. Okay. All right. So of communicating, and it was the error part. It should have been for communicating. Okay. Then every child and adult knows. The correct form should have been every child and adult know, because you are combining child and adult, right? So it becomes a plural, so you cannot use a singular verb, so you'll use a plural verb, so you'll use know as the answer, right? Okay, then anywhere B, it was some fill in the blanks. It was anywhere and B. Okay, something was, if I were anywhere, I would be in that place, or something like that. Then there was one another fill in the blanks. The pairs were marvels and loss. Okay, marvels and loss. Then so different from one another, another fill in the blank, so different from one another. Then entrepreneurship was the correct spelling. I'm sure all of you must have got this answer correct, right? Other options were, I mean, you could easily make out that R was missing, right? Even if you did not know that if it is E-N-T-R-E or E-N-T-E-R, you could have done that because of this central R missing, some U missing, or something like that. It was an easy question, right? All right. Then if we look at some more questions, impasse, the antonym is breakthrough. Impasse means to stop something, right? And breakthrough is the opposite. Then mean, something was asked that where mean is used as a verb, what is its synonym, right? So the answer was signify. If it signifies something, isn't it? Then indigent, the mercy of one's creditors, that was another fill in the blank. So this was the answer. One of the fill in the blanks, the answer was are not and is. Okay. All right. So one of the answers was impede, which was facilitate. Okay. Antonym was asked, impede, and the opposite is facilitate. Then there was one one question error, put on. So the right thing should have been put up, right? So it is put up. Then good at arithmetics and poor in languages. So wherever you have positives, right, quick, it was some quick at arithmetic, right, and poor in it. So positive quantities you use at, right, positive characteristics, and for negative use in. I mean, I'm not sure of the rule, right, maybe it's a colloquial rule, but the right answer is this: at and in are the right answer. So some English faculty would be able to give you the correct explanation for the same, right, but how I remember this is like positive you use at, negative you use in. Okay, so ask from your English teachers, they would be able to explain the exact rule correctly, but yes, this answer is right, that I know. All right. Okay, so these are the questions that we remember. Apart from that, there were 2 RCs. One was on OTT, and there was one coffee house and enlightenment, how it was linked to enlightenment during the 18th century. Okay, so those were the reading comprehensions. All right, so let's move to the quant section and see the solutions. Okay, mathematics and logical reasoning, mostly mathematics, hardly a few questions on reasoning. Okay, so a person goes at 20 km/h and returns at 24 km/h. I mean, the data was given, that was not relevant. The main question was the average speed is calculated by harmonic mean, right? So how do you calculate that average speed? You take 2 S1 S2 upon S1 plus S2, isn't it? So that's harmonic mean. Okay, all right. The next question was compound interest was this, principal was this, and rate of interest was given. You have to find the time. I think so how would we do this is, I mean, very simple. You do not have to actually calculate the interest rate. So just see, this is out of 300, I mean, this is approximately 14%, right, slightly more than 14%. 14% would be 4,200, right? So from this you get that it should be 7%, so 2 years. Okay, that was given to you, that 7%. So even if you do not calculate exactly 2 years, right, you could have just used this is how I mean, I do, and many good aspirants do, right? Just look at how much is it, like compound interest is certain percent, it's 14%, slightly more than 14%, and the time the rate is given as 7%, right? So 2 years. Okay, coefficient of variance, the answer is standard deviation and mean. Okay, so coefficient of variance is calculated by dividing the standard deviation by mean. Okay, so I don't know how many of you answered this one. So this was something I felt was a difficult question. People might have I mean, they must have used fluke to answer this question. Many of you, or the ones who study statistics, would be knowing the answer to this, right? Okay. Then A, B, C can complete a work in 18, 20 and 30 days. B and C work for 2 days and then leave. A will complete the remaining work in how many days? Okay, so this is something like a standard time work problem, how we do that. So we take the work as LCM of these three, right? So that work is equal to, that will be 180, right? So A will do 180 by 18, that is 10 units per day, right? And then B would do 9 units, C would do 6 units, right? So now these two work for 2 days. So in 2 days they will complete 30 units, isn't it? 15 into 2, 30 units. The remaining is 150 units, which A does 10 units a day. So he will complete the work in 15 days. Simple time and work problem, right? So nothing very difficult in that, right? Okay. All right. So next question. Aman and Ananya, Danish, Niro. So question on permutations, how would you arrange them? So it was again an easy one. So Danish is between Aman and Ananya, right? So this is Aman, this is Danish, this is Ananya, right? So they can be arranged in 2 ways, right? You can have Ananya, Daman and Aman, right? And then you have Nero as the fourth person, right? And so it was given Danish is between them, these two, and Nero is not between these two. So these three, three will be in order. Then you could have Nero here or Nero dash, the second case. Similarly, it could be on the left side or the right side. So there are a total of 4 ways of arrangement. Again, a very simple question. Okay. Very simple question, correct? All right. Money doubled at 10% per annum compound interest, minimum number of completed years. Okay. So you know the 72 rule of 72. So the number of years into the rate of interest is approximately 72, right? So like if you look at for let's say if your rate of 10, it's 10% per annum, right? So it would take approximately 7.2 years. Okay, if the rate is, let's say, 12%, it would take approximately 6 years. Not exactly, but somewhere close to that. Okay, so that's a rule that you should know, right? If it is 9% per annum, it would take 8 years and so on, right? So 7.2 years. Anyway, like if you calculate 1.1 into raised to the power 4, you will get 1.4641. Or you can take something greater than 1.45. 1.45 square if you do, okay, so that is somewhere 2.1, right? Greater than 2.1. So in 8 years it would be greater than 2, right? So it is asking the completed years, that would be 8 years, because at 7 years it won't reach 2 double, right? So you will do 8 years. Okay, the right answer was 8. Yes, I think this was asked previously as well. Okay, so standard question on probability, right? This is the type of question you get in most of the examinations. Okay, that part 1, there are 2 parts of a product, right? Part 1, 9 by 100 probability of being defective. Part 2, 5 by 100 of being defective, non-defective. So that will be 91% non-defective and 95% non-defective, right? Okay, so you have to multiply these. Okay, so I'll tell you one short trick to multiply numbers which are close to 100. Okay, some of you must be knowing this Vedic mathematics trick, right? So you take the difference from 100. So 91 is 100 minus 9, 95 is 100 minus 5. Okay, so you multiply this, you get 45, right? And do this. This is 86. So 8645. Okay, so this is a quick way to multiply numbers which are close to 100. Okay, so I don't know how many of you know this trick. If you do not know, now you know that, right? Okay, so this was the answer, 0.8645. Okay, so please keep counting your scores as well and keep liking the session also. Okay, all right, so the score has the number of likes is yet to reach the cutoff. Okay, so you should take it over that as early as possible. Okay, so a question on speed, time and distance. How many of you got this one correct? How many of you got this one correct? 27 km per hour. How many of you knew how to solve this question? Okay, so this was a question which I found must be difficult as per TISSNET standards, right? Not a typical TISSNET question that you see, right? Okay, so let's look at this, right? Okay, yes, maybe CAT question, but not definitely not a TISSNET question, right? Okay, so see how we do this is, so there are 2 places. A bullet is fired from here, right? So a person hears after, so it should reach in 6 minutes. It should reach this place, right? So that is at 360 seconds. Okay, now a person approaching the place hears the sound after 5 minutes 52 seconds, right? So at this point, like the person moves, so it was fired and the person starts moving this side, right? So at this point it has covered in 352 seconds, right? So now this person has covered this distance in 352 seconds, and the sound would take 8 seconds to cover this distance, isn't it? It has traveled 352 seconds it has to go for 8 further seconds. I mean at 6 minutes it would have reached this point, right? So 8 seconds, right? So that would be 8 by 52. So the speed of the person would be 8 by 52 of 330 meter per second, right? 8 by 352. So this comes as 44. Okay, then you can get as 22, 2 and 15, that is 7.5 meter per second. Or if you convert to 18 by 5, you multiply, right, you will get 27 kilometer per hour. Okay, this is how we do this. Yes, 44 ratio 1 is the 44 ratio 1 is the ratio of the speeds. Okay, all right. Now this was a setter. Every 60 units that a minute hand moves, the hour hand moves by 5 units. Okay, the answer was 5 units. It was 5, I think it was units, not minutes. Okay, so like you have a clock. In 1 hour, the minute hand will complete the entire circle, right? Suppose the hour hand was at 3, it would have reached just 4, right? So that's a difference of 3 to 4 is 5 units, right? So that is something, a common sense question. Okay, so which of the following statements about rhombus is true? So there are 4 statements given that it is a cyclic quadrilateral, not necessary. Okay, cyclic quadrilateral has the property that opposite angles add up to 180 degree, right? Okay, then equal diagonals, not necessary, right? The diagonals bisect each other at right angles, but they are not necessarily equal, right? Then inscribed rhombus is a square, definitely yes. If a rhombus is inscribed in a circle, okay, so what will happen, as I told you the property of cyclic quadrilateral, the sum of opposite angles is 180 degree, right? So these two will add up to 180 degree, right? And these two should also add up to 180 degree. Now this angle is equal to this angle, right? In a rhombus, what happens? I mean, let's not draw a square, let's talk about a rhombus. Okay, so what happens in a rhombus is this angle is equal to this angle, right? And this angle is equal to this angle. Now these two are adding up to 180 degree, right? Hence both of them would be 90 degree. And rhombus, all sides are equal, hence it will be a square. So one of these was true. Then opposite angles are equal. Of course, yes, the opposite angles in a rhombus are equal. So these were the 2 correct statements. Okay, so this was a conceptual question. Okay, all right. Next, this was again an easy question. 5 cubes of side 5 centimeter. They had given an image as well, right? 5 cubes. So the length becomes 25, right? Breadth remains as 5 and height remains as 5, right? So apply the simple formula, right? 2LB plus BH plus LH, right? So this is 125 plus 125 plus 25. So 275 into 2, 550 square centimeter. Okay. All right, so that was this one. Increase in area of rectangle. So again, these were the typical TISSNET questions, right? So the number of these questions, I mean, used to be the most, right? However, there were a few typical questions. Okay, so rectangle, if both sides are increased by quarter, which means 1/4. Right, so if you take the length and width as 4L and 4B, okay, this is the original and this is the new length and width, right? So 5L and 5B, okay, so area was 16LB and new area is 25LB, right? Okay, so if you take the increase is 9 out of 16, which is 56.25%, right? You can directly do 1.25 into 1.25 also. Okay, so this was an easy question. All right. Okay, the next question was again easy property of logs. Log A upon B plus log B upon A, right? So what you do is when you have log A plus log B, you multiply that, right? So that would be log AB into B upon A, right? So that you give as 1, right? So log 1 is equal to 0. Okay, so what was it? It was, I think it should be 0, right? Was it the same question? Right, a plus b equal to 0. Okay, it's been a typo here. Right, so it's a no, sorry, right, it was asking a plus b, na? Correct. Right, so log a plus b is equal to 0, right? So a plus b equal to 1. Okay, so this was a question on reasoning, right? So now it says that an office has a front gate facing east. So this is the front gate, this is the back gate. Okay, a person moves out from the back gate, walks for 100 meters and then turns right. So his right would be this direction, moves 50 meters and stops, right? So which direction? It is north and west. Okay, easy one. Okay, all right, next question, let's see that. Number divided by q leaves remainder 21 and twice the number divided by q leaves remainder 13. What is the value of q? So see, the best way to do is to take a number and try that. Okay, that's the best way, right? Okay, so let's take a number when it is divided by q leaves remainder 21. Okay, so that was not given, right? Okay, I did by options. Okay, so no problem. So number is equal to n is equal to, you call it aq plus 21. Okay, so when you have twice the number, when you take twice the number, that will be 2aq plus 21. Okay, now this is q leaves a remainder of 13, right? So that will be sometimes b, right? So you get this, right? And then you get that a minus b times of q is equal to 8 something. Wait, there should be some better way to do this. Q leaves 21 and twice the number divided by q leaves remainder 13, right? What is the value of q? I used option, so that was facing west. No, not southwest. Okay, q leaves 21. Okay, so twice. Right, so yes, we'll take 21 as the number, right? So 21 into 2, right? And like 21 into 2, that will give us 42, and if you take 13, you would get as 29. Okay, so you would get the answer as 29. Okay, right? So that's how we do it, right? All right, so let's look at the next question. 2 is this one of the roots was given as 2 and you have to find the other root, right? So if 2 is the root, just put x as 2, so we will get 8 plus 2k plus 4 is equal to 0, right? So 2k plus 6, 2k plus 12 is equal to 0, and so k is equal to minus 6. Okay, all right, so that was minus 6 was the answer to this question. Okay, there was one rhombus question. That was ambiguous, right? Rhombus and kite, the question was ambiguous. We have not taken this. Okay, Alright, so leap day of a leap year falls on the same date after exactly how many years? Okay, so leap year, first of all, it will fall only in multiples of 4, right? So that was something, and none of the options was a multiple of 4. So first thing that we need to keep in mind is it has to be a multiple of 4, right? Even if they had given options as multiples of 4, so every leap year you get like every year you will get 4 every 4 years you will get 4 plus 1, 5 odd days, right? 5 odd days, right? So now if you take multiples of 4 years, right? 4 years, 8 years, you will never get a multiple of 7, right? Unless you take 7 times, right? If you do it 7 times, so this is 4 years would give you 5 odd days. Okay, so if you take 8, that would give you 10 odd days, and so on, right? So if you take 7 times, that is 28 years, you will get 35, or that is 0 odd days. Okay, so that means the same day. Okay, so the answer was 28 years. Okay, all right, so let's move to the next question. A person wins rupees 40 for getting a sum of 12 and loses rupees 2 for other numbers. Okay, what is the expected gain or loss per throw? So it was that a person rolls 2 dice, right? If he gets a sum of 12, he will get a profit of 40 rupees, and if he gets any other number, that will be a loss of 2 rupees, right? So it is asking that what is the expected gain or loss. Okay, so how would we do this is, see, what is the probability of getting 12? 1 by 36, 2 dice rolled, so 36 outcomes, only one outcome when you have 6 on both the dice, right? That would give you like 1 by 36 is the probability of getting 12. So in that case you will get 40 rupees, right? And in 1 by 35 you will get minus 2, sorry, 35 by 36. Okay, 35 out of 36 cases you will get minus 2, right? So you will get minus 30 by 36, right? That is minus 5 by 6. So net you will have a loss of 5 by 6. Okay, rhombus kite, that was an ambiguous question. They had given that rhombus, like the options were like obtuse angles and all those, so none of them was, so all of the properties were true for rhombus, but not falling for kite, right? So for rhombus all 4 possible were true. Okay, so rhombus and kite, it was a wrong one, right? The question was rhombus and kite, which of the following is not true for both of them? So there was none of them, right? Yes, that was the case. Okay, all right, so let's look at the next one. So easy question. So it was that A is a set of x, and x is an element of natural, x is a natural number, and x is less than 5. So it would be 1 2 3 4. Okay, now you have to then set B was x square is less than 25 and natural numbers, right? So that was, again, you had to keep in mind that these are natural numbers, so you won't count the negative integers. Okay, now it was asked that NAA is the number of elements in the first set and ABB is the number of elements in the second set. So both had same number of elements, right? 4 elements. Okay, all right, then there was a sitter. Okay, so it was 2 to the power 3 minus 3, 2 to the power 4 minus 3, 2 to the power 5 minus 3, and so on, right? So seventh term was asked. Seventh term would be so it is like 2 additional, so 2 to the power 9 minus 3, which is 512 minus 3 is 509. Okay, this was easy one. Yes, it was written as x2. Okay, it was written as x2. I mean that should have been understood as x square. Okay. Yes, they had not mentioned in power, but that should have been understood. I mean, they had not put as a superscript, but should have been understood as x square using the number 25 as well, right? Okay. Yes, that was AA equal to BB. Okay. Yes, that is mean the same thing, right? All right. So let's move to the next question. Product of two numbers is 45 and the difference is 5. Find the sum of the squares. A very easy question, right? So the numbers you would get as 9 and 5, right? I mean, you don't have to apply any equation or all. I mean, just by observing you can get the numbers. So 9 square is 81 and 25 106. Okay. All right. Then there was a question on incorrect statement about 1 3/4 divided by 1/2, right? The answer, I mean, they had given 3 statements which were true. The right answer was half of 1 3/4, because it is not half of it, right? It's technically double. When you divide by a fraction, what do? You take the reciprocal and multiply it, right? Isn't it? So 1 3/4, if you divide by 1/2, you would write as 2 into 2/1, right? So how is it half? It is not half. I mean, the answer was half of 1/2. Okay. Some of the options might have been confusing, right? But this was the answer, obvious one. Okay. TISSNET mein question, we do not know how do they do it, right? So they would scrap those questions, right? They would most likely they would scrap those questions. Okay. All right. So this, what was the answer to this? 5832. 5832. Yes, 2 was not in the power, but that should have been understood, right? I mean, at times you have to understand a few things, right, by just looking at the expression, right? Okay. So it was a simple one. This is 4 cube, this is 6 cube, this is 8 cube, right? 10 cube, 12 cube, and so on. So this should have been 18 cube, which is 5832. Okay, easy one. It's pure cubing of numbers. All right. Then there was another question on series, right? So this was the question that what is the series? Again, very simple. 5 plus 1, 5 square plus 1, 5 cube plus 1. Okay, so the next term after this would be 3126. Okay, so series questions. So these were the typical TISSNET questions, except a few, right, which okay, so these were the questions. The data interpretation we could not produce, right, and it had ambiguous questions. There were 2 questions of that data interpretation which were quite ambiguous, right, that 0.1% of the something total, right? So that was not I mean, I did not get the language of that question. Another one, variability, also I could not understand what does it mean by variability. Okay, and so that we do not have the DI set, but 2 questions were doable, 2 were ambiguous. Okay, so all in all, Quant was difficult as per the TISSNET standards, right? Some of you are saying that Quant was easy. It is because you feel it is easy, right? You have to look from the other aspirants' perspective as well. Okay, so it was difficult as compared to last year, right? So now if we talk about the cutoffs, right, cutoff we have already told that 65 to 67. Okay, 65 plus 1 or 2 marks. 67 plus 1 or 2 maximum, not beyond that, definitely less than 70. Okay, so it is going to be less than 70. Last year it was 73. It is going to be it is going to dip by at least 5 to 6 marks. Okay. All right. So yes, there were 4 questions from DI sets. It was weird, right? Not easy to comprehend as well, right? Okay. All right, so there is no sectional cutoff except the GK section, right? So definitely you have to clear the cutoff in GK and I mean in other 2 sections you do not have a GK cutoff. So even if you are doing around 20 in one of the sections, that's all fine. Okay. All right, so this was about this. So for CMAT, that the registration is till 25th of February. This is as per NTA's site, right? So you have to believe them, NTA, the exam conducting body. So they mentioned that the CMAT would be conducted on 8th of May. So you can go to the site and check there. It has mentioned that it is 8th of May, right? So till now you'll have to follow this. Okay, so extend it, and they have added one more section, innovation and entrepreneurship, to the examination. Okay, all right. So yes, if you enjoyed the session, please do like it. We've just crossed 100 likes, not many likes. Okay, they give the cutoffs as well as the marks, right? So the marks that you score in the examination and the cutoff for that particular program that you have applied to. Okay. All right, so okay, so hi Lannister says he saw Vijay sir. Okay, good. You didn't see me. We both were together at the same center, right? So many times we get the same examination center. Okay, so we are launching a course for CMAT and going to launch a course for CMAT and Maharashtra CET, right? And also for CAT 2021 we have started. Just recently launched the 6th batch. Okay, and that is for a full year of preparation that includes GD, VAT and PI preparation as well. Okay, all right, so this is about it, and for that you need to enroll with Gradeup Super, and using that you get access to all the courses on our platform. Okay, and who are your mentors? These are your mentors. Okay, the ones who appear for these examinations regularly, right? And they score heavily in these examinations, right? So this is the team that we have, the Gradeup team, who have been scoring heavily in all these examinations. Every year we appear for them, right? Most of us appear for all the examinations, and you have seen our scores as well, right? This year also we had stellar performances in CAT, XAT, take it any exam, right? Star performance in all these exams. Okay, very well versed, in-depth knowledge of their subject, right? Okay, so master is saying that you are getting almost full in GK, Quant and English. GK only 10. No, so GK you have to cross at least 14. Okay, all right, so this is it about today, right? I hope you had a good examination. So the ones who are getting above 70 feel safe, right? Start preparing for the next stage, TISSNET, and it has a descriptive test as well. Okay, so do prepare for that as well. Okay, and the ones who are around 67 to 70, keep your fingers crossed. So that might be the cutoff for HRM, right? 60, somewhere 65, 67, not definitely below 65, but somewhere close to that range. Okay, so definitely difficult paper. Okay, and let's wait and watch what comes the actual cutoff, right? Definitely it is not going to be more than 70. Okay, all right, so I'm sure you all must be tired of the day with writing the examination, right? All must have been tensed just before the examination. The examination got over. Even I am tired, right? Writing the examination, preparing the analysis, and delivering the solutions to all of you, right? So don't forget to like the session before you leave it, right? So and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for updates on all upcoming MBA examinations, and yes, we'll have something for CMAT and Maharashtra CET as well. We have already will be launching a course very soon for these two examinations, another batch, and all the best to the test takers, upcoming test takers, the ones who have scored more than 70 in today's examination. Congratulations, start preparing for the next stage. And the ones who could not do well, you have 2 more examinations in this season, so try to do well in those examinations. Okay, so with this I would bid goodbye for the day. Thank you and have a great day ahead.